If you've ever built a dashboard you were proud of and then watched your manager check their phone during the presentation, that's not a data problem, that's a communication problem. And in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how to fix it. I'm gonna walk you through 5 moves that make data land with non-technical stakeholders. The people who do not care how you built the report, they just need to know what to do because of it. Stay to the end because tip number 4 is one most analysts skip, and it's the one that turns a presentation into a conversation. Hey, I'm Arlen, and welcome to Data with Arlen, where we'll be covering all 5 tips using a real quarterly business report. Let's get started.
Okay, here is the starting point. This is a quarterly performance report, the revenue by region and category. It's a comparison against target and year-over-year growth, as you see. The data is real business data. The question is not whether it's correct. The question is whether a VP walking into a meeting can understand it in the first 30 seconds without asking you to explain it. Most dashboards fail that test. So these 5 steps will help you to fix that. Now, if you are still figuring out your path in data analytics and you're not sure what to learn next, I have put together a free data analyst career roadmap. It shows you the exact steps from Excel user to hired analyst in that order. The link is in the description, so be sure to check it out. Okay, so now most analysts open a presentation by pulling up a chart. And then when they're brought to present, they say, okay, so here is the data. Don't do that. Your stakeholders already thinking about 3 other things. You just need to give them the headline first. The one sentence that tells them what matters and then shows them the data that proves it. So if we're looking at this total revenue visual here, this particular card here, this doesn't tell the whole story. The whole story in one sentence actually is the revenue is up 12% versus last year. So we could either change the title here just to say that if this is just like a one-time report, or what you may want to do if that's the whole kind of crux of what they need to know, go ahead and make that the title of the report, just like I'm going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and add a text box like I am done here, pull this to the top, and then we can go ahead and put this in the title. I'm going to go ahead and copy this from somewhere else, paste that in there. Let's see here. We've got that. We got to change the color, make that black, and we're going to make that a little bit bigger. Let's just say 20, or maybe we'll do that 16. Okay, there we go. All right. So that really speaks to exactly what this is saying. They immediately see that the revenue is up 12% versus last year. So you could do that as a title, or you could put that down here. I think up here is better because it speaks to exactly what this is saying. So you see the difference? They see exactly what's going on. Okay, now analysts talk like analysts typically. Non-technical stakeholders do not. So when your dashboard says something like YOY growth percent, you're making your audience work harder than they actually should. So just replace the label like this with plain English. Instead of saying year over year growth, Y over Y growth, you can change it to growth versus last year. So if we wanted to change it, you can just say, go into this, edit it, go to more options, and just change the title of it. It's just best to make it clear for what they're looking at. So if we go ahead and change it to title, actually it's going to be I believe it's the call out here. We go to call out, we go to the label, and let's see here. Actually, I'm going to go to cards here. We're going to go into the layout here. So what you may want to do is when you go into the title section here under visuals, into the properties, give it something more descriptive. Growth versus last year up 12%. And as far as the actual title down here, you can remove that, turn that off, and turn this back on. And if we go into properties, actually we're going to go into visual. We're going to go into the call out and the label, we're going to just turn that off. So makes it a lot clearer. So you can do that with all of these as well. So revenue versus target, you could either keep that as is, or if you want to make it more descriptive, target is 12K ahead, actually, something like that. Total revenue, something like that. This is really clear, but if you want to speak to exactly what the data is saying, then you can do that. So you're basically guiding your stakeholder to what the data is saying. Now, a common mistake that many analysts also make is putting everything in one chart. You add revenue, you add units, you add customer count, and you add a trend line, and suddenly the chart is doing 5 jobs and doing none of them well. Every visual should answer one question and one question only. So if we look here at the column chart here, the column, this chart title is now a question, total revenue by quarter. So what you could do is change it to say something like, which quarter drove the most revenue, instead of having total revenue by quarter. So, something that you could do here in the visual as well, just like we did in the other one. You can go into, let's see here. We're going to go into the title here. It looks like the title is total quarter by revenue. We could do something like, which quarter drove the most revenue. I can just put that in here. Which quarter drove the most revenue? So again, like I said, it's now a question, and one question, one chart, one answer. If you find yourself with a chart that answers 2 questions, split it into 2 charts. So this is something that makes it clear. It helps you during your presentations, and it's just a great way to kind of help you guide your stakeholder through what the data is actually saying. So now here is one of the most one of the common ones that most people miss. It's when you present data, your stakeholder, it's always about to ask a follow-up question. If you wait for them to ask it, the meeting slows down and you look reactive. If you answer it before they ask, you look like you know the business. So the most common follow-ups that many analysts get are, can you break that down by region? That is exactly why we have a region slicer in the dashboard. So with the region slicer, I've already added it. If we switch it to north, south, or west, or east, we can basically show them how this is broken down by region. And this is really answering their question before they actually ask it. Now, the last tip is about structure. Most people present data in the order they analyzed it, which is random and confusing to anyone who's not in the room with you while you built it. Instead, always present in this order: summary first, then detail. Start with the headline. Revenue is up 12% versus last year. So you want to start with that. Then show the category or regional breakdown that explains why. You can do it by, maybe you can say, okay, North was up by such and such amount. And that is basically a great way to walk through it and explain why it's up. Then if they want to go deeper, show the quarterly trend. The summary, then the detail. You can give them the overall summary of everything, and then give them a detail per region. And then that will basically guide them to what the data is saying. Remember, summary, then detail. Your stakeholder can stop you at any point, and if they already have the most important information, they're good to go, and they may not need to ask follow-up question. So one of the things that we've done at the top here is we've guided them also by adding these cards: the total revenue, the revenue versus target, and the growth versus last year, up 12%. This is the summary. So we want to speak to these first, then go into the detail. The chart below, that's the detail. So if your executive has to leave the meeting after 30 seconds because they have got to jump off to another one, they already heard the headline. If they stay for the full 8 minutes, they'll then get the full story. That structure works every single time. And that is how you present a dashboard to non-technical stakeholders. Lead with the headline. Again, Revenue up 12% versus last year. Lead with that headline. Use plain language, one message per visual. Anticipate the follow-up questions and always go summary first, then detail. If you apply these today, the next time your manager asks for a report, you can walk into the room confident that data is gonna land. That's the real skill, and now you have it. Now, if this video has helped you, and I genuinely hope it did, hitting subscribe is the one thing that you can do right now that makes the biggest difference for our channel. We are building the data crew from the ground up, and if you are here, you're already a part of it. Every single subscriber tells YouTube that this content is worth showing to more people who need it. It's totally free. It just takes a second, and I promise you I'll never waste your time. And if you'd like to go ahead and take a look at our next video, we've got many others coming up, more detailed Power BI tutorials. Take a look, click the link on the screen, and we look forward to seeing you in our next tutorial.